Hey guys, I'm the Engine Jumper. Today I'm doing my top 5 favourite regional formed Pokémon. Now, since the release of Sun and Moon, we have seen various regional formed Pokémon in terms of their design, their types, and their Pokédex entry. And in this list I'll be going over some of the Pokémon that have had various forms changed, and I'll just be talking about some more of the ones that are my favourite. So for number 5 is Hisuian Arcanine. Now, what I like about Hisuian Arcanine is that it's basically a larger version of regular Arcanine, I think, and I do like the whole rock-fire type combination because because you got the obvious fire type colour scheme there, and then you've got like the whole rock type colour scheme as well. And I do like how you got like the different kind of like the hair around its body, and I think it's a really good version of Arcanine. I also like Hisuian Growlithe. I think that's a nice Pokemon as well, but I think Hisuian Arcanine is a much more cooler looking Pokemon, and I think it's more intimidating in terms of design. And yeah. For number 4 is Galarian Darmanitan. Now, what I like about Galarian Darmanitan is how different his design is. Because if you look at regular Darmanitan and Galarian Darmanitan, they are very different in design. Because with regular Darmanitan, it's basically this giant fire Pokemon, whereas with Galarian Darmanitan, it's basically this giant ice type Pokemon. And it's also got this, I think, giant snowball on its head, I think. And I think it's really cool in design, and I do like how when it's in its Zen mode, I think they look quite different as well. And I think this is one of the few design wise which is pretty cool and pretty fun, and I think this is what all regional formed Pokemon should try to be, because like there are some interesting regional formed Pokemon out there, but a lot of them are quite similar to the original forms. But with Galarian Darmanitan, it looks completely different with its design and its typing, and I think it's a really interesting take on Darmanitan. For number 3 is Hisuian Zoroark. Now, what I like about Hisuian Zoroark is that it kind of falls in line with what I was talking about with Galarian Darmanitan in terms of its design and typing, because its design is kind of like this all of kind of like a whispery kind of red and white kind of combination, and I do like its type, which is normal ghost, which means it's immune to ghost, normal, and fighting, and only weak to dark. And I think that's a really cool and interesting combination, because that normal ghost it can do so much with that, and I do like how it's got this sort of like cool and sort of scary looking design, and I think it's really fascinating to see see how Game Freak designs some of these Pokemon with their typing in mind, and I think it's a really fun and interesting way of looking at Zoroark, and I think it's a really cool and interesting looking Pokemon with its normal ghost type. For number 2 is Hisuian Decidueye. Now, what I like about Hisuian Decidueye is that it's got the sort of samurai type of design, because it's got like this sort of hat covering its or basically on the top of its head, and it's basically got this sort of mask kind of thing covering the lower half of its face, and I think it's a really cool and interesting design. And from what I've seen, a lot of people don't like Hisuian Decidueye. Not sure why, but I really think that it's really cool because it's got this sort of samurai type of inspiration to it, and I think it's really cool. And also the grass fighting type I think it's a nice combination. It's kind of like how Breloom and Chestnut have it in terms of their typings and designs. And I think Hisuian Decidueye, I think the leaves, I think the red and brown leaves on the Hisuian Decidueye is a really cool and fascinating thing, just because I think it adds more to that era of, oh, these are 3 well-known Pokemon, and here are their final evolved forms that have been adapted to the Hisui region. And I think Hisuian Decidueye is possibly the best looking out of the 3 other starters. And for number 1 is Alolan Ninetales. Now, what I really like about Alolan Ninetales is its typing, that being Ice Fairy. And I think it fits both typings really well, because it's got the ice type with its colour scheme, and I think it's got, in terms of the fairy type, is design wise really well, because you've got like Alolan Ninetales looking all elegant and stuff like that, and like a fairy type, and you've got like, you know, the way that it's designed wise in terms of the ice type as well. And I think it's a really cool and interesting type combination of the fairy ice type. And even though it is, you know, 4 times a week to steal, I do still think that Alolan Ninetales is possibly the best one, or the best regional formed out of any of the Pokemon games that have the regional forms. And I think it's a really nice and lovely design for a Pokemon, and it's kind of like with Galarian Darmanitan and Hisuian Zoroark, its design is quite different from the original one. And I do like the 9 tails on its back, because if you look at regular Ninetales, it's basically just got long tails on the back of its body, whereas with the Alolan Ninetales, it's basically got the tails floating in the air. And I think that's a really cool and interesting design for Alolan Ninetales. So that's been my top 5 favourite regional formed Pokemon. I hope you enjoyed this video. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe, and see you in the next video.